In a single moment, Jake's world shatters. His wife, Maria, confesses she's pregnant with her sister's child. She planned it in secret, leaving Jake blindsided. In Miami's vibrant streets, a devoted dad fights to protect his kids from a web of lies. Will he reclaim his life or lose everything? The Miami sun blazed over the soccer field, its heat relentless as Jake Morales, 38, clapped encouragement to his son's team. "Keep it tight, Lucas," he shouted, watching his 9-year-old son dart across the grass, chasing the ball with fierce determination. Jake, a structural engineer with a knack for precision, coached with the same intensity he brought to his blueprints. Parents cheered from the sidelines, their voices blending with the hum of Coconut Grove's weekend energy. Maria, his wife of 12 years, stood among them, her phone in hand, typing furiously instead of watching Lucas's game. Jake noticed, but pushed it aside. He was used to her multitasking. "Nice pass," Jake called as Lucas sent the ball to a teammate, earning a quick grin from his son. Sophia, his 6-year-old daughter, tugged at his sleeve, holding a juice box. "Can I have another, Daddy?" she asked, her eyes wide with hope. Jake knelt, ruffling her hair. "One's enough, kiddo. Let's cheer for your brother." Sophia pouted but nodded, settling beside him. This was their routine. Jake anchoring the family, Maria flitting in and out, her graphic design work always pulling her attention elsewhere. The whistle blew, ending the game with Lucas's team up by 1. Jake high-fived the kids, his pride evident, then glanced at Maria. She was still on her phone, oblivious to the victory. "Maria, you coming?" he called, herding Lucas and Sophia toward the car. She looked up, distracted, and gave a quick wave. "Yeah, be there in a sec." Jake's jaw tightened, but he said nothing, loading the kids' gear into their SUV. At their Coconut Grove home, Jake started dinner, grilled chicken and rice, a staple Lucas loved. Sophia colored at the kitchen table, humming softly, while Lucas recounted his goal in vivid detail. Maria walked in, dropping her bag on the counter with a thud. "Good game, Lucas," she said, but her tone was flat, her eyes glued to her phone again. Jake stirred the rice, his patience thinning. "You saw it?" he asked, not looking up. "Parts," she admitted, scrolling. "Busy day." Jake let it slide, focusing on the kids. After dinner, he helped Sophia with her spelling homework while Lucas practiced dribbling in the backyard. Maria retreated to the couch, her phone lighting up her face. Jake assumed it was work, another client deadline, until she spoke. "Jake," she said, her voice oddly calm, "I'm pregnant." The words hit like a rogue wave. Jake froze, the spelling list slipping from his hand. Sophia looked up, confused, but he forced a smile. "Go finish in your room, sweetie." She obeyed, leaving them alone. Jake turned to Maria, expecting joy, maybe nerves. Another kid wasn't planned, but they'd manage. Instead, her expression was blank, almost defiant. "It's not yours," she added. His stomach lurched. "What?" The word came out sharp, his mind racing to catch up. Maria set her phone down, crossing her arms. "It's for Carla. She and Leo can't have kids. I'm their surrogate." Carla, her older sister, lived 10 minutes away in Coral Gables with her husband, Leo, a real estate agent always chasing the next deal. Jake blinked, processing. "You're pregnant with Leo's kid?" His voice rose, disbelief cracking through. "It's not like that," Maria snapped, standing. "It's a medical procedure. Carla's my sister. She needs this. It's basically her DNA." She said it like it was obvious, like Jake should nod and move on. He stepped closer, his hands clenched. "When did you decide this?" Maria hesitated, then shrugged. "A few weeks ago. Went to the clinic with them. It's done." "Weeks?" Jake's voice trembled with anger. "You planned this behind my back? With Leo?" Maria rolled her eyes. "Don't make it weird. It's my body, my choice. I don't need your permission." The dismissal stung worse than the news. Jake paced, his mind a blur. They'd built a life together, 12 years, 2 kids, a home, and she'd sideline him like he was irrelevant. "You're my wife," he said, stopping to face her. "This isn't just about you. It's us, the kids, our life. You didn't think to talk to me?" Maria's eyes narrowed. "I knew you'd freak out. That's why I waited. But it's happening, Jake. Deal with it." Her tone was final, like she'd already won. Jake stared at her, the woman he thought he knew, now a stranger. "You chose Carla over me," he said quietly, the truth settling like stone. Maria scoffed, grabbing her phone. "You're being dramatic. This is about family, not you." She walked out, leaving Jake in the kitchen, the hum of the fridge the only sound. He sank into a chair, his mind racing. Lucas's laughter drifted from the backyard. Sophia's crayons scratched upstairs. His kids, his world, were oblivious to the fracture forming. Maria's betrayal wasn't just personal. It threatened everything he'd built. He clenched his fists, resolve hardening. She made her choice. Now he'd make his. Jake Morales woke to the sound of Lucas kicking a soccer ball against the garage, each thud a reminder of the normalcy he was fighting to preserve. It was May 2025, a month since Maria's bombshell about carrying her sister Carla's child. The Miami heat was already stifling, but the real pressure simmered inside their Coconut Grove home. Jake poured cereal for Sophia, who was sketching a dolphin at the kitchen table, and called Lucas in for breakfast. Maria shuffled in, rubbing her lower back, her pregnancy now visible. She grabbed an orange, avoiding Jake's gaze. "Doctor's appointment today," she said, her tone clipped. "Need a ride?" Jake set his coffee down, his voice steady. "Call Carla. It's her kid." Maria's lips tightened, but she said nothing, peeling her orange with sharp, deliberate motions. Lucas glanced between them, his spoon paused midair. "You okay, Dad?" he asked. Jake forced a nod. "All good, bud. Eat up." He wouldn't let the kids see the fracture widening. After they left for school, Maria tried again, softer this time. "Jake, I'm exhausted. Can't you help with one errand?" He met her eyes, unyielding. "Not my kid, not my problem." She stormed out, slamming the door. At work, Jake buried himself in bridge schematics, but his mind churned. Maria's secrecy wasn't just a betrayal. It was a choice to prioritize Carla and Leo over their family. He tried reasoning with her the first week, sitting her down after the kids were asleep. "This changes everything," he'd said. "You went behind my back." She'd shrugged it off. "It's for Carla. You're making it personal." Her dismissal fueled his resolve. He wasn't her errand boy, and he wouldn't play along. By June, the tension was a live wire. Maria leaned on Jake harder. Groceries, carpool, even assembling a crib Carla dropped off. Each request met the same response: call Leo. Maria's frustration boiled over one evening as Jake helped Sophia with math homework. "You're punishing me," she hissed, standing in the kitchen doorway. "I'm doing something selfless, and you're acting like I cheated." Jake closed Sophia's textbook, sending her to her room. "You planned this without me," he said, voice low. "That's not selfless. It's reckless." Maria's eyes flashed. "You'll regret this when I'm gone." The next day, Jake overheard a call while Maria was in the backyard. Her phone buzzed on the counter, Carla's name on the screen. He didn't touch it, but her voice carried through the open window. "I haven't signed yet," Maria said, her tone sharp. "You promised to cover the costs, Carla. Where's the money?" Jake's pulse quickened. He stepped outside, pretending to check the grill. Maria hung up fast, avoiding his gaze. "Everything okay?" he asked, casual but probing. "Fine," she muttered, brushing past him. The crack in her plan was showing. Carla and Leo weren't holding up their end. At Lucas's next soccer game, Carla showed up, all smiles, hugging Maria like nothing was wrong. Jake watched from the sidelines, noting Leo's absence. "Where's your husband?" he asked Carla, keeping his tone neutral. She waved a hand. "Work. You know how it is." Jake didn't buy it. Later, as he drove the kids home, Sophia piped up from the back seat. "Why's Mom always mad at Aunt Carla?" Jake glanced at her in the rearview mirror. "They're figuring stuff out, kiddo." But he knew more than he let on. That night, Maria cornered him in the living room after the kids were asleep. "I need you to drive me to the clinic tomorrow," she said, her voice strained. Carla flaked again. Jake leaned back, arms crossed. "Not my problem. You chose this." Her face crumpled, but she didn't cry. "You're so cold," she whispered, walking away. Jake felt a pang, but pushed it down. She made her bed. The twist came a week later. Jake was fixing a bike in the garage when Maria's phone, left on a toolbox, lit up with a text from Leo. "We need those papers signed, Maria. Don't back out now, or we're screwed." Jake froze, piecing it together. The surrogacy wasn't just shaky, it was a mess. Carla and Leo hadn't secured the legal side, and Maria was stalling, maybe realizing she'd been played. He didn't confront her, not yet. Instead, he called his lawyer, a friend from college. "Start drafting divorce papers," he said. "I'm done. By July, Maria's belly was undeniable, and her mood swings were worse. She oscillated between snapping at Jake and pleading for help. One night, as he read to Sophia, Maria barged in. "I can't do this alone," she said, voice breaking. "Carla's dodging me. Leo's useless. I need you." Jake closed the book, his jaw tight. "You needed me before you went to that clinic. You chose them." Sophia stirred, sensing the tension. Jake kissed her forehead, sending her to bed. Alone, Maria tried again. "We're still a family, Jake." He shook his head. "You broke that. Not me." The next morning, Lucas asked, "Why is Mom sad all the time?" Jake knelt, meeting his son's eyes. "She's had a lot on her plate, bud. But we're okay." He meant it. The kids were his anchor, and Maria's chaos wouldn't pull them under. As he drove to work, his lawyer's words echoed. "You've got a strong case for custody." Jake gripped the wheel, resolve hardening. Maria's plan was crumbling, and he'd protect his kids, no matter what. August 2025 brought a relentless Miami heat, but the real fire burned in Jake Morales' Coconut Grove home. Maria, now 7 months pregnant with her sister Carla's child, moved through the house like a storm cloud, her request for Jake's help growing bolder. He held his ground, his response unwavering, "Call Leo." The kids, Lucas and Sophia, felt the strain. Lucas, 9, grew quiet, his soccer kicks less spirited, while Sophia, 6, clung to Jake during bedtime stories, asking, "Is Mommy leaving us?" Jake hugged her tight. "We're a team, kiddo. Always." He shielded them, but the tension was a weight they all carried. One evening, Jake was grilling burgers for dinner when Maria approached, holding a stack of medical bills. "The clinic's hounding me," she said, voice sharp. "Carla said they'd pay, but they haven't." Jake flipped a patty, not looking up. "Sounds like their problem." Maria slammed the papers on the counter. "You're my husband, Jake. Act like it." He turned, eyes cold. "You stopped acting like my wife when you planned this behind my back." She glared but backed off, muttering about his stubbornness. The next day, Jake caught a break. While Maria was at a checkup, her phone buzzed on the kitchen table. Carla again. A text read, "Sign the papers, or we lose everything." Leo's freaking out. Jake's suspicion hardened. The surrogacy deal was a house of cards. He snapped a photo of the message, forwarding it to his lawyer. "This is leverage," his lawyer said over the phone. "If they're dodging legal responsibility, we can use it." Jake nodded, his plan taking shape. He wasn't just fighting for himself. He was securing Lucas and Sophia's future. At a school event, Carla showed up uninvited, cornering Jake by the bleachers. "You're making this harder than it needs to be," she said, her voice low. "Maria's struggling. Step up." Jake crossed his arms. "You and Leo step up. You pushed her into this mess." Carla's smile faltered, but she pressed on. "It's family, Jake. You wouldn't understand." He stepped closer, voice steady. "I understand you're using her. Back off." She left, but her words lingered, a reminder of the pressure piling on Maria. That night, the storm broke. Maria burst into the living room, where Jake was helping Lucas with a science project. "I can't do this," she shouted, tears streaming. "Carla's dodging me, Leo's useless, and you're just sitting there." Lucas froze, eyes wide. Jake sent him to his room, then faced Maria. "You chose this," he said, calm but firm. "You knew I wasn't on board." She sank onto the couch, sobbing. "I thought I was helping her. I didn't know it'd be like this." For a moment, Jake felt a flicker of pity, but her secrecy, months of lies, killed it. The next morning, Jake found Maria packing a bag. "I'm staying with Carla for a bit," she said, avoiding his gaze. "I need space." He nodded, unfazed. "Take all the space you need." She hesitated, expecting him to protest, but he walked away, focusing on getting the kids to school. Lucas asked, "Is Mom coming back?" Jake squeezed his shoulder. "She'll visit, bud. We're okay." But inside, he knew this was the endgame. He called his lawyer, finalizing the divorce papers. "I want full custody," he said. "She's unstable, and the kids need me." In September, Maria went into early labor, delivering a boy for Carla and Leo. She called Jake from the hospital, voice shaking. "I am scared. Please come." He gripped the phone, his resolve ironclad. "You got Carla and Leo. Call them." He hung up, ignoring her follow-up texts. When she returned home, baby items cluttered the house. Bottles, diapers, a stroller, left by Carla, who hadn't shown up to collect her son. Maria tried leaning on Jake again, asking him to pick up formula. Not my kid, he said, walking past her to help Sophia with her puzzle. The breaking point came at a family barbecue hosted by Jake's brother. Carla and Leo arrived, acting like nothing was wrong, the newborn in Carla's arms. Maria hovered nearby, exhausted, while Jake grilled. Leo approached, clapping Jake's shoulder. We're family, man. Let's move past this. Jake set the tongs down, staring him down. You planned this behind my back. You don't get to play family now. The guests went quiet. Carla jumped in, defensive. You're tearing Maria apart. Jake turned, voice cutting through the chatter. You used her. You didn't even sign the papers, did you? Carla's face paled, and Maria froze, caught off guard. Later, Jake found Maria alone by the pool, staring at the water. They lied to me, she whispered. They said they'd handle everything. Jake didn't soften. You lied to me first. You chose this mess. She nodded, tears falling, but he walked away. The next day, he served her the divorce papers. I'm done, he said, handing her the envelope. Maria stared at it, silent, as Lucas and Sophia played nearby, oblivious to the final crack in their family's foundation. Jake's focus was clear: protect the kids, no matter the cost. October 2025 gripped Miami in a humid haze, but the real storm raged in Jake Morales' life. Maria, now living with her sister Carla in Coral Gables after delivering a boy for her, and Leo, left a void in the Coconut Grove home. Jake, 38, focused on Lucas and Sophia, shielding them from the fallout of their mother's choices. The divorce papers, served weeks ago, sat unanswered, but Jake's resolve was steel. Full custody was non-negotiable. Lucas, 9, struggled at school, his teacher noting fights with classmates. Sophia, 6, woke from nightmares, calling for Jake. He soothed her, promising stability, but the kid's pain fueled his determination. Maria's visits were erratic. She'd show up for court-ordered weekends, but her energy was drained, her focus split. One Saturday, she arrived late, dropping off a bag of toys for Sophia. I'm trying, Jake, she said, lingering at the door. He handed her a court notice, voice flat. Answer the papers, Maria. She flinched but left without a fight. Lucas watched from the window, his silence louder than words. Jake pulled him into a hug. We're good, bud. Just us. But Lucas's slumped shoulders told another story. At work, Jake's engineering projects kept him grounded, but a call from his lawyer shifted the game. Maria's fighting custody, she said. Claims you're alienating her from the kids. Jake gripped his desk, anger flaring. She's the one who walked out. He sent his lawyer the photo of Carla's text, exposing the shaky surrogacy deal. Use this, he said. She's unstable, and Carla's pulling strings. The lawyer agreed, building a case around Maria's secrecy and Carla's manipulation. One evening, Jake caught Maria on the phone during a visit, her voice low but heated. You owe me, Carla. I did this for you. She hung up fast when Jake entered, but he'd heard enough. Trouble in paradise? He asked, keeping his tone neutral. Maria's eyes darted away. It's fine. He didn't push, but the pieces clicked. Carla and Leo were dodging financial responsibility, leaving Maria to drown in bills. Jake filed a motion to subpoena their financial records, suspecting fraud. The tension peaked at a parent-teacher conference. Lucas's teacher pulled Jake aside, concerned about his son's outbursts. He's angry, she said. Talks about his mom leaving. Jake nodded, guilt gnawing at him. At home, he sat Lucas down. You can tell me anything, bud. Lucas stared at the floor. I heard Mom say Aunt Carla lied about money. Is that why she's gone? Jake exhaled, choosing honesty. Your mom made a tough choice. I'm here, though. Always. Lucas nodded, but his eyes stayed distant. Maria tried a new tactic, showing up unannounced one night with a photo album. Remember this? She said, flipping to a picture of them at Lucas's first soccer game. Sophia climbed in her lap, eager, but Jake stayed back. Don't play that card, he warned. Maria's voice softened. I messed up, Jake. Let me come back. He shook his head. You chose Carla over us. The kids need stability, not your regrets. She left, the album abandoned on the table, a relic of a life Jake no longer trusted. Carla and Leo escalated next, calling Jake after weeks of silence. Carla's voice dripped with accusation. You're destroying Maria. She's falling apart because of you. Jake cut her off. You used her for your kid and left her with nothing. Own it. Leo tried next, pleading. We're family, man. Help us out. Jake hung up, blocking their numbers. Their desperation confirmed his suspicions. The surrogacy was a financial scam, and Maria was their pawn. By November, the court date loomed. Jake's lawyer uncovered a bombshell. Carla and Leo hadn't paid the clinic, leaving Maria liable for thousands. Jake used it, presenting texts and financial records to show Maria's instability and Carla's manipulation. Maria, desperate, tried one last plea during a visitation drop-off. "I'll sign whatever you want," she said, voice breaking. "Just don't take the kids." Jake met her gaze, unflinching. "You took yourself out of their lives. I'm protecting them now." Sophia's nightmares worsened, and Jake enrolled her in counseling, balancing it with Lucas's soccer schedule. One night, as he tucked Sophia in, she whispered, "Does Mommy love us?" Jake's heart cracked, but he smiled. "She does in her way, but I've got you always." He meant it, pouring every ounce of energy into keeping their world intact. Maria's chaos was hers to bear, but the kid's pain was his to heal. As he prepared for court, Jake knew the fight wasn't just for custody. It was for his kid's future, and he wouldn't back down. December 2025 brought Miami's winter breeze, a faint relief from the year's unrelenting heat, but Jake Morales felt no ease. The divorce hearing loomed, set for early January, and the battle for Lucas and Sophia's future consumed him. At 38, Jake balanced single parenting with his engineering job, keeping his Coconut Grove home steady for his kids. Lucas, 9, was back to scoring goals at soccer, but his quiet moments betrayed lingering hurt. Sophia, 6, smiled more, her counseling sessions helping her process Maria's absence. Jake's mission was clear: protect them from the chaos Maria, Carla, and Leo had unleashed. Maria's visits grew sporadic, her energy sapped by the surrogacy fallout. She delivered a boy for Carla and Leo, but their promises of financial support evaporated, leaving her with mounting clinic bills. Jake's lawyer had built an ironclad case, using texts and financial records to expose Carla's manipulation and Maria's instability. During a rare visitation, Maria dropped off Lucas and Sophia, lingering at the door. "I'm trying to fix things," she said, her voice low. Jake handed her a court reminder. "Fix it in court," he replied, shutting the door. Sophia peeked back, confused, but Jake distracted her with a puzzle. The hearing arrived, a stark Miami courtroom buzzing with tension. Jake sat upright, his lawyer presenting evidence: Maria's secretive surrogacy plan, Carla's unpaid bills, and Leo's absence. Maria's lawyer countered, painting her as a selfless sister abandoned by a vindictive husband. Jake's evidence cut through, screenshots of Carla's text demanding Maria sign papers, bank statements showing no payments. The judge's gaze hardened on Maria. "You prioritized a surrogacy agreement over your family's stability," she said. "Mr. Morales has demonstrated primary care." Verdict: full custody to Jake, Maria granted bi-weekly supervised visits. Maria's shoulders slumped, but Jake felt no victory, only relief. Post-hearing, Maria grabbed his arm outside the courtroom. "I didn't want this," she whispered. Jake pulled away. "You it. Focus on the kids now." He walked away, the weight of a year's fight lifting. Back home, he sat Lucas and Sophia down. "Mom will visit, but you're with me," he said. Lucas nodded, gripping his soccer ball. Sophia hugged him. "You won't leave, right, Daddy?" Jake kissed her forehead. "Never." Jake moved them to a new home in Coral Gables, a fresh start. He let Lucas pick a bright green for his room, Sophia choosing yellow. The kids thrived. Lucas rejoined his soccer team. Sophia started dance classes. Jake's work steadied, his projects a lifeline. One evening, his brother hosted a barbecue, and Jake laughed freely, the first time in months. Lucas kicked the ball with cousins. Sophia twirled in the grass. The chaos of Maria's betrayal felt distant. Maria called weeks later, voice strained. "Carla and Leo cut me off. I can't pay the bills." Jake leaned against his counter, unmoved. "Talk to a lawyer. That's their mess." She paused, then tried again. "I miss the kids." Jake softened slightly. "Stick to the visits. They need consistency." She agreed, and her next visit was quieter, focused on Lucas and Sophia. She brought Sophia a stuffed dolphin, read to her. Lucas showed her a new gold trick, cautious but warming. Jake watched from afar, noting her effort but holding boundaries. The courts delivered justice. Jake's lawyer pushed for Carla and Leo to cover Maria's medical costs, citing their breach of the surrogacy agreement. A judge ordered them to pay, draining their accounts. Carla called Jake, furious. "You ruined us." He cut her off. "You ruined yourselves. Leave us alone." The call stopped, their influence gone. Maria found a part-time design job, scraping by. During a drop-off, she met Jake's eyes. "I was wrong," she said. He nodded. "Keep showing up for the kids." By March 2026, spring bloomed in Coral Gables. Jake coached Lucas's soccer team under a clear sky, Sophia cheering from the sidelines. At home, her drawings covered the fridge, Lucas's trophies lined a shelf. One night, as they played a board game, Lucas asked, "Is Mom okay now?" Jake smiled. "She's trying, bud. We're doing great, though." Sophia giggled, stealing a game piece. Jake laughed, the sound free of last year's weight. Maria's chaos was hers to carry. Jake had his kids, his home, his peace. He'd fought for it, and he'd won.